Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. Let's talk about darker things here at home. You said Trump at his rally calls the January 6 terrorists who brutally beat up police officers the January 6 warriors, and the Maga crowd cheers. Maga is a cancer. It cannot coexist with a democratic republic. Thank you. That's a good way to put it. It's a cancer. The whole thing has to be eradicated.
If we allow it to grow, it will take over every part of society. It's a movement that it's fueled by white supremacy, it's fueled by Christian nationalism, and it's fueled also anti-democratic. It's about ultimate power for Donald Trump. They will do anything for Trump. We've never seen this. This is why it's a fascist movement, because they embrace violence, they defend violence, cheering the January 6 attackers, and then saying they were warriors. You mean the people who beat police officers were warriors? And yes, they believe that. So he's embraced it the same way. I think we talked about
this. And some sitting Republicans booed January 6 cops and walked out on Harry Dunn. And just extraordinary. Let's talk about happy things, like what's happening right now at Trump's probation hearing. First of all, I'm pissed he didn't have to go sit his happy ass in court. He gets to do it by Zoom. But so talk to us about what happens at the probation hearing.
He's going to jail.
Yay! Lock him up. Lock him. All right, go ahead.
Look, they're going to ask him questions about, from what I read, because every place is different, but in New York, they ask him questions about his finances, where he's going. They want to get a sense, should they recommend any kind of confinement or not?
Okay, let's go back to happier things, like, what do you call it, Trump's probation hearing. So, first of all, I wanted to get your little lawyer cap on. The odds of attorneys for Trump to get an appeals court to rule in their client's favor if they appeal his conviction is slim at best. Justices only toss out convictions in approximately 4 to 6% of cases. To warrant the reversal of a jury's verdict on account of an error, the appellate court must find an error of some kind that led directly to the conviction. I mean, because this thing about the Supreme Court, when I first heard that, I was like, wait, what? They said for the case to reach the U.S. Supreme Court, it must reach and get through a decision of the Court of Appeals, but this seems like an unlikely case for the Supreme Court to hear. The appellate issue concerns a New York criminal statute rather than the type of grave constitutional or federal statutory issue ordinarily reviewed by the Supreme Court. Well, I guess with this Supreme Court, all bets are off. But when I first heard that, I was like, can that happen? Could the Supreme Court overturn blah, blah, blah? But go ahead.
No. Could they? They're going to have to, the normal procedures. It'll go to the appellate division in New York, then the highest court in New York is called the Court of Appeals. And then from there, there's no right to appeal the Supreme Court. They can ask the Supreme Court to hear it. And that would be years from now, to be honest. So it's not even going to affect this election, that kind of stuff. They're not going to take this directly. There's no federal question. There's no constitutional issue whatsoever. They won't take it. And even though the Supreme Court is what it is, I wrote an article about it for my newsletter, for Substack, that we are seeing a weaponization of the judiciary by Republicans to protect Donald Trump. And it's happening in the other 3 criminal cases, happening right in front of our eyes.
Yeah. So obviously, this Sean Hannity and his guest amplifies a Facebook comment from a self-described poster who claimed to be a cousin of a juror. You know, you saw that, Dean, right? They were.
Yes, I did.
They were all over Hannity. Wow, if that's not cause for a mistrial, I don't know what is. Absolutely, said Fox contributor, blah, blah, blah. I mean, first of all, when you self-describe yourself as a poster, what do you make of this whole thing?
The idea that any conviction could be overturned because some random person posts on Facebook, I talked to the jury and they're going to convict, would be no one would get convicted in America.
Right.
Everybody on trial would have friend post, I know someone on the jury, we need a mistrial. So if not, look, if there was a real thing, and I think the judge is actually going to investigate it on Donald Trump, and the investigation could take 10 minutes. Just talk to the person they know who it is, who posted it.
Yeah.
Are you related to the jurors? No. I think we're done here. You know, that kind of that. Yeah. It's anything to delegitimize the election. First you go to the election. They don't believe in elections when they lose. They don't believe in the criminal justice system when Trump is indicted. And they don't believe in the jury system when he's convicted. My question, Steph, is what exactly does MAGA believe in terms of the United States of America? They don't believe in our Constitution, our elections, our jury system, our criminal justice system. They only believe in one thing, and that's Donald J. Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's called a fascist movement, everyone.
Thank you.
Say it with me. Fascist movement.
Fascist movement.
No, it's true. It's
There
like
you go, fascist. Go to your window and yell fascist movement.
it's all lies.
Can't take this anymore.
It's all lies.
Fascism.
It is. It's like medical big lie about COVID, about vaccine, the election big lie about that he won. It's just on and on. So I love that Biden's team taunted Trump over his imperiled gun permit. Good. I'm glad they're going at this convicted felon thing as they should. Convicted felon Donald Trump expected to lose gun license. They wrote, good. Most Americans would prefer living in a country where an unhinged felon who's also been found liable for sexual abuse cannot own a firearm. They got to go at this hard. Kamala Harris did. The vice president went at this hard. This is disqualifying. He is a convicted felon.
And I actually think it's really good to show people the real world impact. Like, he can't go to 37 countries because he's a convicted felon. Right. He can't. He's losing his gun permit in New York. NYPD is taking it away right now. If he gets jail time, he might not be able to vote even in his home state of Florida. We'll see. But I think that's important. So it doesn't seem like this ambiguous thing, or is it really a felony? They could do a commercial. Here are these countries. List the countries like France, Canada. Donald Trump can't go there. Why? Because he's a convicted felon. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
His gun license being taken away. I think that's important. I think going after Trump as a convicted felon, very, very important. I don't care what some CNN contributor who's a Democrat said. I don't think they should talk about this. Shut up.
Yes,
of course they should talk about this. This is so vitally important.
Also, I'm somehow picturing what would be the size even of the gun that his tiny hands could hold. It would be like a... Yeah. And then I was joking, but seriously, don't they ask you that in a probation hearing? Do you associate with other felons? And I'm like literally going down the list. Like almost everyone he worked with is now a felon. I was reading the story about Peter Navarro. He has, I see. He has some complaint. He doesn't like prison food, Dean.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He's having
don't do the crime if you don't like prison food. That's
he's having to
get the rhyme.
He's having to supplement his meals with food from the commissary, stating, "I'm a hot chili ramen noodle freak." Well, may he enjoy that for many years to come.
That must make him popular in prison, I imagine. That sounds like kind of inviting. Look, it's going to be the idea of Trump going to jail. I can't wait because he'll be like, my prison gang, the best gang in prison, the Orange Brotherhood. The Orange Brotherhood, MPG, making prisons great again. Peter
Navarro says his diet is high in sugar and carbohydrates, protein MIA. I haven't seen a fresh orange or grapefruit in the heart of citrus country since I got here.
Poor baby.
But he is planning to speak at the RNC when he gets sprung from jail. Right before.
Surrounded by fruit and produce. He'll be surrounded. They're going to just feeding him apples and grapes during the whole thing. Look, the question of Donald Trump is really, do you know anyone who's not a convicted felon? I mean, it's really like, let's do the opposite. Let's start with it. Does anyone you know not charged or in jail or convicted of a felony that you didn't pardon? And it'd be like, no, Donald Trump Jr., like, we're waiting. That he should be, come on. We got to get some charges on him. But and I like Steve Bannon's going to go to jail during the election. This is really important. He'll be out of, there's no podcast privileges, Steve Bannon. Sorry, buddy. Don't get to do a podcast.
That's a big dearth in the entertainment industry. Real quick, your last tweet, you said Trump at a rally screams at blue-collar workers who set up the event. I don't pay contractors who do a job, and that's a job. That's a job. Trump is a rich boss who mocks hardworking people. I mean, he literally said to them, I don't care about you.
Right.
I just want your vote.
Everyone knows Trump is the boss. Trump is the horrible boss who demeans you in front of everyone and mocks you and belittles you because he thinks he's better than you. And there he is yelling at the contractors, literally saying it's crappy. We'll say he actually cursed at that over and over, mocking them. The teleprompter's not working. The sounds. Maybe you do a sound check, buddy.
Right.
How about you do a teleprompter check before the show? This is what we do in professionals. We don't yell at the crew because you're not getting laughs.
It's just whining.
Bombing.
Half his rally was whining about the teleprompter and the microphone, and it's like, oh my God, it's 10 degrees. I'm just like, no wonder they had to pay everybody to be there. Dean, I kept you late. Ha ha. I kept you 2 minutes late. Goodbye.
It's great to be on. Thanks, Deb. Nice seeing you.
We love you.
Have a great day, Chris.
See you next time.
Thank you.
There he goes. Right here on Sirius XM Progress.
Yes.
The fantastic Dean Obeidallah Show.
Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. I hope you'll join me on my new audio podcast, Justice Matters. I'll be using my 30 years as a federal prosecutor and Army JAG to unpack, break down, and explain the legal issues of the day, particularly where the legal intersects with the political. Please look for Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner wherever you generally get your podcasts.